cannon fodder on the road. Boom, Washington, D.C. Here in the Capital One Center, formerly the MCI Center, formerly the Verizon Center, formerly the...
It used to be called the phone booth.
Phone booth, yes.
For you kids at home, the phone booth is where you'd go and use the phone.
And
you didn't carry them with you everywhere you went. You had to go to a phone booth, which is what this arena used to be called.
And oh, what a phone booth it was.
Now
quiet.
It's a bank.
It was quiet. It was quiet in this place when Seth Jones tied Game 1 of the Stanley Cup first round playoff series. Quarterfinal. Metropolitan Division semifinal, you might even call it. Seth Jones tied it in the third with a power play goal, and man, he had almost put the puck in his own net on a pass back after they pulled the goalie on the delayed penalty. And he came back, you could see he was like twittering at the bench. Then they go out in the power play, and the shot he scored on the wrist shot, you can tell like he put everything he had into it. I mean, he looked like, I don't know, George Scott swinging at that sucker. Tried to burn it through the net, straight through the backboard. That tied it up. The place goes dead quiet. Kind of picked up heading into overtime, and then Artemi Panarin scores just over 6 minutes into overtime. This is why they got him, George.
Yeah, Artemi Panarin, easily one of the best players the Blue Jackets have ever had. I mean, just a gamer. Had 2 assists on the other 3 goals. Gets the overtime winner. Just wills away. And this wasn't a 3-on-3 overtime like he's used to scoring, and this was the full-on 5-on-5. Artemi Panarin, you know, talked after the game, said, "This is not only was it a great goal, but it was a great comeback by a great team." And he says the Blue Jackets are going to build on this and move forward. First Game 1 win for the Blue Jackets ever. This is their 4th playoff appearance, first Game 1 win.
First time they've ever had a lead in the series.
And now they have home ice advantage.
That shot by Panarin, by the way, Tortorella was saying afterwards, there's not a lot of players that can make that. Drove hard to the net, upper top corner, far post.
Curled right under the left circle, and just inside the bottom of the left circle, and let it go just below the dot, or not just below the dot, but it was a wicked angle, and he put it up under the crossbar far corner.
Beautiful shot.
And remember, when they traded for him in the Sod deal with the Chicago Blackhawks, the first thing that Kekalainen said, Jarmo Kekalainen, general manager, was we need a game breaker. And Tortorella's comment was, this is the kind of guy we needed in that Pittsburgh series, which they lost in 5 games last year.
And Tortorella has admitted he did not know what kind of player he was getting in Panarin. He knew the offensive skill. I don't think he knew how good Panarin was in every other facet of the game. This guy's terrific defensively. He's terrific on the puck. You can't get him off. $170 Panarin. You can't drive him off the puck, and he just drives to the hoop, if you will. Here we're in the Wizards basketball practice facility. Drives the lane, baby. He takes it. Panarin, very solid player, very special player, and a game breaker.
You know what was interesting about their comeback today in the 3rd period is that they did it on 2 power play goals. Think back to the first half of the season, how bad that power play was. Historically bad.
Worst in the league.
Quietly, the second half of the season, the final 41 games, they were actually at 23%. So the power play's been solid, and it came up huge for them today. You know,
came up when they needed it most.
Yeah, when they needed it most. They were able to rally twice there in the 3rd period, and consider the fact that they already were without Josh Anderson, which was a controversial play.
Alexander Wenberg, another.
He was out with an upper body injury. Foligno took a slap shot to the face, so he was out for a few minutes.
They were down. Well, let's start at the beginning. First period, the Jackets had, let me see, 2 minors called on him, and then Josh Anderson's major, and he was thrown out of the game for boarding. So the Jackets down a forward there. They had to kill off
5 minutes.
Yeah, so they come out of the first period, they're down 2-0, and they have 4 shots on goal, ostensibly because they spent most of the period killing penalties. Started the second period, finishing off Josh Anderson's penalty, took that 17 and change into the first period, carried over in the second. Then they righted themselves, and Sergei Bobrovsky in the second was very good. when he needed to be.
Oh, sir, yeah. Bob was
Bob.
Bob was solid, and you know he gave up the 2 power play goals. One, you know, the first one not his fault. The second one he'd like to have back, but when they needed Bob to be right, he was right.
So they cut it to 2-1,
and that was huge. I mean, if they give up if they can't kill off the rest of that penalty, the rest of that major, start off the second period, 3-0 game, they're probably not going to rally.
Yeah.
So and Pierre was like, we knew they could score as many goals as they wanted in that 5-minute power play, and they only got 2. Now, when it was 2-0, you're like, wow, this game may be over, but it could have been so much worse. It could have been 3, 4, 5, as LeBron James would say. It could have been really bad, and it's only 2-0, and then they kill off the penalty. They're able to get into the Washington zone right away and start pressing and start playing their style again. And then things turned.
Wenberg had the goal to cut it to 2-1 on a tap in. Nice pass, Boone Jenner.
It was a Vanek-esque pass, by the way. Beautiful.
There you go. Should shoot more, huh?
Yeah.
And speaking of Vanek, he tied it on a power play. Was it his goal that tied it 2-2 on a power play?
On the penalty that knocked Wenberg out of the game. Wenberg takes a hit to the head. He may be out. I mean, it looked like he got shooken up a little bit. He was knocked out, didn't return. John Tortorella, as usual, doesn't have an update, but
he got sandwiched there with Ovechkin.
Yeah, Ovechkin came in with a cross check on one side of him, and Wilson hit him high. Wilson goes to the box. And, you know, I asked someone after, how are Wenberg's ribs? And the answer was his ribs are okay. So that kind of says that it was the headshot by. And George, is the league going to look at that?
Oh, I think they are. I think they are going to look at that
because in a game where Josh Anderson gets run for a 5-minute boarding call and a match penalty,
the league is going to look at every one of these. I mean, they look at headshots especially. It was a charging call. It could have been something else. Yeah, I believe they'll look at it. Whether anything happens other than a fine for Wilson, I don't know, but the league is definitely going to take a very close look at this.
Vanek's goal.
Yes.
Post position, he looked like Charles Barkley in the middle of the slot there.
He muscled his way in there, yes.
With Orpik on his back.
Impressive.
He pushed him out, put Orpik on his back.
Can you stop talking about basketball?
Impressive.
Tap it.
You know, and before the game, Torch was saying how this playoff series has really re-energized Vanek. It's his 8th time in the playoffs. First time since 2015, though.
With 14 different teams.
Yeah, basically half the league. And he was huge. I mean, this team talks all the time about getting into the blue paint, right? Making things happen. And he forced his way in there, was able to score. And as you guys mentioned, he's another guy who's a game breaker like Panarin that they needed to come through in a game like this.
So then Washington scores in the third, George. And the place
erupts, all those red things going nuts, everybody's singing and dancing, and it's 3-2, and time's running out on the Columbus Blue Jackets.
That was Kuznetsov. Was it Kuzi's goal or Burakovsky? I forget.
Burakovsky.
It was Burakovsky. Burakovsky scored. And
no, it was Smith-Pelly.
Oh, Smith-Pelly.
Smith-Pelly.
It was Devontae Smith-Pelly. And in that span of time in the third, at some point, Kuznetsov is on my mind. He's from Panarin's hometown. He got into a slashing match with Panarin, and Panarin backed him down as if to, I don't know, big brothered him, George. It looked like.
$170 Panarin, man, he's tough.
As they said, you've heard it going into this. Torch talk about the retaliatory penalties. You got to watch it. Well, there was Kuzi getting hit with one there. Panarin slashed him. He slashed him back. They called the second one, and that's usually how it goes, isn't it?
Yeah.
So on to overtime, and the place was quiet.
Well, we did. Did we talk about Seth Jones' goal?
Oh, gee.
Well, yeah, you did. You talked about the goal.
Seth Jones ties it with, how much time was left? About
5 minutes?
5 or 6 minutes left, yeah.
So we go to overtime.
On to overtime, and Panarin wins it, and it was just so quiet. You could hear the guys celebrating on the ice from way up in the press box. It was one of those moments, and of course, we were typing.
And Torch was saying, he was asked after the game if he felt like the way they finished the season with all those close games, comebacks like they had against Edmonton, if that, you know, helped them in a close game like this, because a lot of players said it did. He said he doesn't feel like regular season carries over, but you have to believe the fact that they've been in these situations and have had success coming back, you know, was a factor in them believing they could come back down 2-0 and then again.
This team never panicked. I think this team.
So much going against it tonight.
So much going against them, and they never panicked. They kept, you know, doing what they usually do.
Yep.
I think they are battle tested a little bit. So many, and it wasn't just the big games. They were in close ones against Detroit and Ottawa and Edmonton, like you said, and all those games. They found a way to win a lot of games, and I think tonight against the Washington Capitals, they did it again. Yes, a lot more on the line. Yes, a lot more pressure than, say, a Tuesday night against Ottawa, but this team seems to find a way.
And in winning tonight, they put a whole lot of pressure on the Capitals now going into game 2.
Home ice belongs to Columbus.
They not only took home ice, this is a team that's been, criticized by their fans for not going far enough in the playoffs, right?
Well, there's a lot of pressure on this Washington
series, so they're really playing with house money here in game 2.
Long way to go yet. A crazy game tonight. I think there could be 6 more of these. And Nick Foligno talked to our Kyle Robertson about how crazy this game was.
No, it was a weird game. Not to cut you off. Yeah, no, it was. It almost seemed like the refs were as nervous as we were. But they did. They're human too, and it's part of playing with hockey. There's going to be adversities, whether for you, against you, and you just got to find a way to stay calm. And I thought that's what really the growth in our team you could see. We stayed calm and found a way to win.
And
that was a little for you Facebook folks. That was a little magic.
Pierre-Luc Dubois talked to our Kyle Robertson. What did he talk to you about, Kyle?
Power play, I believe.
About the power play, yeah. 2 of them tonight. Pierre-Luc, please.
Up and down type of game, we go down 2 goals, come back, they go back up. So to get that goal, I think he's been one of the driving force of our power play recently. And he's playing really well, and Brad made another nice pass, and Cam did an amazing play to keep it in. So I think those 3 guys are key, obviously key elements of our power play, and that was a really big goal for us.
Go ahead. At last, John Tortorella. George,
some call him Torts.
You pushed him about, not pushed him. Did you asked him about if they had learned?
Yes, I asked him about the battle tested and then the close games.
And he kind of denied it. Let's have a look.
Listen, it's one game against a very good team. We find a way to get it done tonight. Again, I am really happy on how we found a way, and our team gets to experience a win like that. But we have to be really sharp after we leave them alone tomorrow to be ready to get to work on Saturday and get ready for Sunday's game.
John, your thoughts on Anderson's hit?
No, you're not even going to bring me down there. You're not even going to bring me down there.
And that's it from for cannon fodder on the road here in Washington, D.C. We'll probably drop back in on you tomorrow.
We might do something tomorrow.
And what platforms are we on, guys?
We are on Facebook, our Blue Jacket Extra page. It's a special page just for Blue Jacket fans and fans of us and friends of the family. It's a new page for that. We're on Twitter, at George Richards, at Michael A. Race 1, at S. Gordon, at Dispatch Alerts. What else are we on? We're on Hulu.
Dispatch.com. And
we're on YouTube.
A special treat. Check out at K-Rob Photo. And Adam, what's your...
Atomic Photo.
An atomic photo.
The photos are award winners, man. These are
somebody
legit.
Got the shot of Foligno knocking the puck out of the net.
Who did?
K-Rob.
AP did?
No, at K-Rob.
Oh, nice.
And that was one of the great shots of the night. But well, we should hang it up now. We've droned on long enough. Thanks for joining us here for Cannon Fodder on the Road. For George Richards and Steve Gordon, I'm Mike A. Race.
Happy trails, eh?
See you.